Thank you for the introduction, and I would like to thank Beckman for giving me an opportunity to present our research on proteomics using Biomake. So today I am here to introduction of proteomics sample preparation protocol in using a robotic platform Biomake. So proteomics has been used throughout the globe to study cellular composition interaction on all the molecular analysis of all the samples. So if you take a proteomics workflow, it has like three major workflows: sample preparation, separation, and analysis. While separation and analysis has been undergone a lot of developments, we have like more sophisticated instruments available for separation and analysis. But for sample preparation, this is still a bottleneck in proteomics. So if I say like sample preparation for proteomics, it's like contains multiple analysis of multiple proteins and peptides. So if you take a whole proteome, it's like complex, and when you break them into peptides, you get millions of peptides which need to be analyzed, and this is like searching for a needle in a haystack. And in proteomics, if you see like from the sample, not all the proteins from the samples are quantifiable. Only part of them are identifiable, and very small portion of the identified peptides and proteins are able to be quantified. So this is very much happening in proteomics workflow right now. So when you go for quantification, you get the number of quantifiable peptides are very low. So if you go for biomarker, when you look into the biomarker discovery pathway, the more you go into from discovery to validation phase, the number of analytes are reducing while the number of sample is going on increasing. So there is a need for reproducibility, replicability, and robustness in order to analyze your samples. When you go for biomarker discovery, so the main problem is like you need to have your drug molecules quantified or determined in healthy patients or disease patients in a statistically significant manner. So in order to have high statistical significance, you have to have like higher number of sample numbers. So for this, we need to go like thousands of samples to be analyzed. In proteomics, recently there has been a development like sample multiplexing technology, in which in sample multiplexing we can analyze 2 or more samples in a single experiment simultaneously. So how this is done? So for this, like there are commercially available isobaric tags. So these isobaric tags are like barcoding molecules which tags your peptides or proteins, and you can analyze them using mass spectrometer. So these are I'm showing you two different isobaric tags, tandem mass tags and dilu. So the tandem mass tag is commercially available and it's widely used throughout the scientific community. And these stars represent the isotopes where we can have like 12. Right now they have 16 variants, and we can combine like 16 samples in one experiment. That's what we say multiplexing. So you can analyze 16 samples. You can pool 16 samples into one experiment, and you can see the expression level of all the proteins in the 16 samples in one window. So with this sample multiplexing technology, we are able to reduce the instrument analysis time, and also we are able to increase the throughput. Because when you go on spend your time on analyzing your samples, then also you have like batch variations, which I will be telling it later. So this slide shows you like combined precursor isotopic labeling and isobaric tagging protocol, which has been developed by our lab, and this is an enhanced multiplexing strategy. So what we do here, so consider you have like a 12 group of wild type and diseased tissues you want to analyze, and you can randomly group them to 2 groups, and the first group follows a low pH light dimethylation, and then they will be undergoing TMT tagging using the commercially available TMT tagging, and the other half of the group will be undergoing a heavy dimethylation. So what happens? You are incorporating a heavy molecule in the dimethyl group, and there is a shift of 8 Daltons between these 2 peptides. And again, all these 6 samples are labeled with the TMT. So, and then when we pull all these 12 samples together and we analyze using a mass spectrometer. So, this is showing an example of the light and heavy pair of a peak pair of a peptide, and the mass spectrometer selects these fragments and fragments them into MSMS spectrum, and the most intense peaks are further fragmented to get the reporter ions. So, if I say the reporter ions, this is the reporter ions of the TMT fragments. So, each and every sample has a barcode. So, these peaks represent the abundances of the peptide in the samples, like different samples. So, this half will be like a light labeled peptides, and this is a heavy labeled peptides. So, some of the advantages of using cPilot is it has the capability of, it enhances the multiplexing capacity of available commercially available tags. So, if you have a 16-plex tag, without technology we can multiplex it by a factor of 2, and also it's cost effective, and it's like has a high labeling efficiency, because if I say labeling efficiency, it's very important for us to quantify your peptides. If your peptides are not labeled, then we cannot quantify them in a reproducible manner. So, some of the drawbacks is like it has multiple pipetting steps and also like desalting steps, which requires which may introduce some error in the experiment. So, for that, if you see, like whenever you go for a higher number of samples, like thousands of samples, it's very difficult for you to do a reproducible study. So, if I can give you an example, like if you have 100 samples and I do a label-free experiment, it takes me 40 days to complete the experiment using a mass spectrometer and using a manual process. So, if I have with the current multiplexing technologies available in proteomics field, so this 100 samples can be used, can be completed in 15 days using multiplexing technologies like TMT or DILU. And if I combine automation with multiplexing technology, we can complete the 100 samples in 5 days. So, this reduces the batch effects. So, if you have like 100 samples doing in 3 different batches, these batches are also will introduce some errors. So, you might not know the variation in the peptide level might be from your batch effect or from the sample itself. So, some of the technical considerations which we were having before making the protocol automated is like amending it to a 96 well plate from a PUNDOF format, and also like a selection of a desalting platform, because desalting is very important for proteomics studies, because before you want your samples to be as clean as possible before you put it in your mass spectrometer. You don't want it to be dirty, so you are going to spoil your mass spec. So, that's very important. So, I spent some time in my preliminary studies. I selected a Targa plate, and that was showing a good higher peptide recovery compared to the plates which I used. Also, like when you go for automation, you don't want your samples to be like you interfere with manual handling. So, this slide shows you the workflow which we have used for automating the platform. So, when you are when you are going for a method development, you don't want it to be like much complex. So, our aim is to first to see if the protocol has been amendable to the BIOMEC, and we have like reproducible results. So, in order to show that, I used mouse lever with workflow replicates. They are all same tissues in 24 all different wells, and the peptides and the proteins were quantified on a BIOMEC using a BCA assay, and then reduced alkylated. This is a protocol for proteomics workflow. Reduced alkylated and digested using trypsin, and then they were cleaned and dimethylated with light and heavy and TMT tagged, and then pooled, and they were injected to a mass spectrometer. So, I have a small video to show like about the capabilities of the BIOMEC which we have in our lab. So, the BIOMEC is integrated with the positive pressure apparatus, and also we have a heating cooling device and a vortex, and we have like 2 pod 1, pod 2, and this pod 1, pod 2 can has a 8 channel and a 96 channel pod which can aspirate and dispense 96 samples at a time into all the plates. So with this, we are trying to go for parallel processing of all the samples. Also, we have a vortex and a vortex to incubate your samples. So this here you can show I'm showing you the resulting after injecting the mass spectrometer, you get the spectrum, and we analyze using a software called Proteome Discover, and we get the reported intensities of the samples. So number S1 to S22 represents the channels which I used. So there are number of samples, all corresponding to row 1 to 11 and second row. All these samples have been analyzed using a mass spectrometer, and they show the spectrum abundance. So to start with the experiment, so first we tried with the BC assay. So BC assay is very important for us since we need to know how much protein we are loading to the experiment. So I did like 3 different BC assays on 2 different days to see the reproducibility of the robotic platform. So I was able to get like a reproducible coefficient correlation. So it's like showing that the pipetting capacities of the robotic platform is reproducible, and in 2 different days. So this slide shows the base peak chromatogram, like the total ions identified in all in the samples, and I did the experiment in a simultaneous manner with manual handling. So I want to compare whether the experiment is comparable with the manual quantification, and also the automation quantification is good or bad. So I was able to identify increased number of peptides and proteins in samples processed with Biomec. So this slide shows you the MS1 spectrum. So these are the selected peaks, like a peak pair of a selected peptide in all the 22 samples for automation, and this is for the manual cPilot. So if you can see, like there is a peak pair, there is a difference between the 2 peak pairs. They are like light and heavy labeled by dimethylation, and they have like a lysine labeled with TMT. So with this, we can quantify these peptides in all the samples. Next one, I'm showing you the MS3 reporter ions, which shows you the peptide abundance. So all these the peak heights, the straight lines show you the peak intensities of the peptides. So to show you something, like if you see S1, S2, S3, the abundances are like similar, but when you go for manual, there is like difference in the peptide abundance. So this might be due to manual pipetting errors. So we are introducing some errors during the sample preparation process. So this slide shows you the total number of peptides and proteins identified throughout the light and heavy of the manual and automated process. So we are able to identify increased number of peptides and proteins throughout the automation process samples, and also they also showed increased number of unique peptides compared to the manual. So the automated protocol was able to identify the peptides and proteins present in the manual also, and also it has some 24% of unique peptides identified. So to dig more into and see what is happening, like the inter-sample variations between the manual and automation, samples processed with Biomec showed like a peptides with lower CV values. So if you have lower CV values, you can get like a reproducible identification of the peptides. So this is very much important, because when you go for a large number of samples, even a small percentage of variation is going to affect your study. So this slide shows you the total ion abundance of the peptides from the manual and automation samples. So if you see the red and green bars indicate samples processed with Biomec, and all the channels. So each and every bar represents a channel, and if you see like the peptide abundance throughout the samples are more or less similar, while we go for the manual processing, there is some variation between the channels. So obviously, at the end of the day, when you're processing multiple number of samples, we don't know if a peptide, if a protein is highly expressed or in a sample might be due to the sample conditions or it might be due to pipetting errors. So it might be an introduction of an error by manual handling. So to dig into most of the, to see, we looked into the some selected peptides throughout all the samples and saw like the variation is like a peptide quantification is very reproducible while using a Biomec. So now we know that Biomec is processing samples with a reproducible manner. So I want to see like whether if I do a second batch, am I getting the same results? So this is one of the latest results which I did before coming to this conference. So I was able to get a mean CV values of like 18 to 14 for light and heavy with processing with Biomec. So it shows that the Biomec is able to do a batch-to-batch reproducible sample preparations. So with this, I would like to conclude that automation of this workflow, with the help of a Biomec, we are able to process 22 samples in parallel, and also like the main advantage is if you do a manual pipetting of 24 samples, it takes 4 minutes. What one Biomec can do it in 45 seconds, and also like Biomec was able to identify peptides and proteins in a very quantifiable, in a lesser intersample lesser intersample variation, and they were like we got more than 90% of the peptides were quantifiable with lower CV values of less than 20. So if you see the future directions, in future we are trying to integrate most of our sample multiplexing strategies with Biomec, and in future, right now we have a method developed for 24 samples. So we are working with Beckman to optimize a 96-well plate format so that we can process 96 samples, and our ultimate aim is to work on 480 samples in a batch. So if it is 480 samples, we can complete 480 samples in 3 days. That's what we are trying to move forward. And with this, we are going to reduce the inter-batch variation, inter-sample variations from our samples. So amending this protocol to the Biomec, we are getting more time to think, write scientific questions from the samples. So with that, I would like to thank my group. So I would like to thank Dr. Rene Robinson for giving me an opportunity to work in our lab, and we have bought this Biomec for a year. Is with us for a year, and we had a great time with the Biomec with working all the protocols. So I am very much thankful to Brian Rose from Beckman. So he's been a field application specialist, and he's been amazing with me. Like they have helped me like doing all these experiments very handy. Like if I have any troubleshooting things, it was very helpful for me with all these experiments. And also I would like to thank Clink for his initial support, and Bhagia for organizing this conference and getting me an opportunity in this place. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Thank you all.